Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's live. I'm just going to wait until kind of everything gets fired up here on the screen. A couple things that I want to do today. Today's video topic is on jade plants. So that is kind of the agenda for today. I'll be watching the live stream or the live feed here as well. But yeah, there's basically one main thing that I want to get done with the jade plant, which is this one over here, this larger one. Basically, I want to remove this soil from this one, put it in the VeryPlants succulent mix. I've been waiting for about 6 months to freshen it up, give it some new soil. So that is pretty much the only thing that I want to do today. The other thing that I just want to make mention is an update with one of my jade plants that I hacked off all the branches about a month ago. So yeah, basically that's kind of today's video. So I do want to talk about anything jade plant related, or I guess succulents in general. So if you have any questions, you can leave it down in the comment section. I'm using a different microphone today, and I do have it hooked up to some headphones so I can hear if the audio is okay. Looks like everything's good on my end. So yeah, just kind of start firing away any jade questions that you might have. And then I'm going to talk about some basic care, I guess, if you guys want to talk. So we got Charlotte, North Carolina. If you've never been part of one of my live streams before, I always like to know where you guys are viewing from. Today here in Canada, it is Canadian Thanksgiving. So today is a holiday for us. But obviously I'm not having Thanksgiving right now. So I just wanted to do a couple plant chores. So California, Peru, Poland, Michigan, and from the UK. So yeah, just let me know down in the comment section here if you guys have any jade plants, succulents, and what you guys want to know. I'm going to start off with the update to the jade plant that I cut off all the branches pretty much, well, like almost exactly like a month ago. The reason why I did that is, as most of you know, if you watch my videos, I have thrips upstairs and downstairs. And this one right here, all the leaves started to get almost like, not a scale, but almost like a scabbing type thing. The leaves just looked horrible. This specific plant was stem cuttings from a propagation that I did, I don't know, a couple of years ago kind of thing. So I basically took a whole bunch of stems, stuck them in one pot, and the goal was to just let it grow crazy. I wasn't going to prune it. I wasn't going to touch it. I just wanted to see if like how it would grow. So I do have this one in a hanging basket from my south-facing window, and I was just going to let it cascade down and just let it go crazy. But it started to look really horrible, I guess, with all the leaf damage. So I basically just chopped off every branch just in hopes to kind of restart it. So that's a little bit of the history with that one. I can also talk about propagation if you guys have any questions about that as well. I do have a golem jade that I need to prune one branch off. I haven't done much pruning on that one, but I want to take one branch off just because the weight of one branch is pulling it to the side, and I don't want the stem to snap. So we have Ontario, Southern California. Are wrinkled leaves too much or not enough water? Good question. It can be both. It's kind of I guess a tricky question. I'm going to bring this jade into the picture. This is one, or this is the one that I'll be doing the hard root prune on today. So I guess I should have a little disclaimer as well. Anything you guys see on my videos, I push it to the extreme. So whenever I do pruning, you know, I showcase just how resilient jade plants are. And like the title says, they're basically indestructible with the exception of a couple of things. One of them being watering. So yeah, You don't have to do an extreme prune like I do, or a root prune or anything like that. I just like to showcase it on this channel just to show you how it will respond. Now, obviously, that wasn't the case for me when I first started pruning jade plants. I was absolutely petrified to cut off one stem just because I thought I was going to kill it. So that's not the case. Pruning for most plants, and especially jade plants, can be really, really beneficial for it. Obviously, it promotes new growth and branching and all that kind of stuff. So this is another plant that I did not like a super hard prune, but I would say a fairly aggressive prune. Not quite to this extent, but each year, primarily in the spring when the plant starts to grow, then I'll just do pruning for branching. But I'm getting sidetracked here. Back to the question about wrinkled leaves. Now, one way to tell whether a jade plant needs to be watered is by what I call the taco test. And, whoops. So, I don't know if I can get it in here. Jade leaves, they are very thick, they are very plump, and you should not be able to squeeze or fold a jade leaf. If you can fold it, like if it's, I don't even know. Here, I'm going to take a leaf off this one just to show, because I can't pick that one up. But okay, now I'm in a pickle. I don't know where to put this plant. So this leaf, it's not wrinkled, but I can slightly fold it. Like you can see, it's quite pliable. I should not be able to fold a jade leaf like that. This is pretty much the only way I determine whether my plants need water or not. I don't go by, I watered it 2 weeks ago and it needs water again. Sometimes it might not need water for 3 weeks or a month, or it might be dry. And the leaf you can fold in a week. So it depends on your light, obviously, and the plant. So obviously these aren't wrinkled, but if you can fold it like this and the soil is absolutely bone dry, then I know it needs water. If you just watered it, or if you notice wrinkled, well, I guess I should say, if it's wrinkled leaves and you haven't watered it in a long time, then it's pretty dehydrated and you need to give it a good soaking. Now, if it's wrinkled and you just watered, say, like a week ago, and the soil is still a little bit damp or wet, then you're probably dealing with most likely a root issue. So if it's been watered recently and the leaves are still wrinkly and they didn't plump up, then I would just take it out of the pot, look at the roots, and see if you're dealing with any root rot. Hopefully that answers your question there without getting too complicated, but let them dry out completely, and obviously make sure that your jade plant gets a lot of light. It's struggling to grow, and I'm not sure what else it needs help to settle in. I find like 9 times out of 10 when people are struggling with a jade plant, it's usually a lack of light. Now, I like to use a light meter. I have one on my phone. I don't even know where my phone is. And then I use a digital light meter. This one right here. So I'm just going to hold this like it's a child. Jade plants need a lot of light. So I would say like at least 6 hours of bright light or more per day. And I always say that you should put it in your brightest window. Now, even if you have it in, like these are all in my south-facing window or close by it, if you, and again, depending on the type or time of year, if you have it, say like 2 feet from a window, it's probably not getting enough light. You'd be surprised at how much the light fades as the further away you get from a window. So I have them pretty close to my south-facing window, and it would probably even be, they would do well in a west-facing window as well. If you don't have enough light, then they also do extremely well under grow lights, like this big beast back here. This is the original Jade. I've had this one for probably 17 years now. So this plant, as well as 2 others upstairs, are from small little propagations from about 6 years ago. So this is about a 6-year-old cutting. And then obviously these ones came off just from previous propagations. Okay, I'm going to put this one down for now. Rebecca says she finally made it to alive. Does my Gollum Jade need a dormancy or less watering in winter, even though it's strictly an indoor plant? I keep all of mine indoors. Now, as we're approaching, fall and winter, I slow down my watering as well. I still leave them in bright light, like in my south-facing window, but I'll just pay attention to the leaves. So I know already that the plant is slowing down in growth. Despite this one here, like it hasn't slowed down, which I'll talk more about here in a second. Definitely you should cut back in your watering, but again, just pay attention to the leaves. Through the winter months, mine probably will need water maybe every 3 weeks to a month kind of thing. Under a grow light. So my phone's right here. I took a screenshot of the amount of light that my plant is getting today. I just use an app on my phone. It's just a very rough estimate of what my Jade plant right up against the south-facing window was getting, and it is 4,400 foot candles, super bright light. Anything over like 1,000 foot candles is bright light. And then downstairs here, I use a variety of grow lights. These, can you see them? These gooseneck grow lights, they are the Sansi grow lights, and I got them off Amazon for, I think it was like 40 bucks. So definitely affordable if you're looking for a nice cheap option. And if you put it right here, close to the leaf, I'm just changing the range. I'm gonna put it right here. So I know you can't see it, but it is getting 1,600 foot candles, and it's about a foot from the light source. So this plant downstairs grows year round. And I guess kind of back to your question, does it need a dormancy period? It does if you want it to flower. I've been trying for, almost 16 years or whatever to try and get this to flower. And I know it needs a period of cooler temperatures. I think probably around or above 10 degrees Celsius is kind of what it needs. So anything less than 10, I don't know, you're running the risk of getting it too cold. But I know they need a period of cooler temperatures, not necessarily less light, I don't think. But mine have never flowered, so I'm not an expert with that. But I know that they do need a little bit of a rest period or dormant period. So for mine, I don't have anywhere other than my garage, which in the winter here where I am in Saskatchewan, it gets to be like sometimes minus 30 degrees Celsius, and I don't have like a heated garage or anything like that. Obviously downstairs here in the laundry room and stuff, it's still like 21 degrees in here. So I don't really have an area where I can bring it down to that, 10, 15 degrees so that it can flower. But if you like keep them inside and you don't care about flowering, then yeah, they don't really need a dormant period to survive. So had a Gollum that died. Looking back, I think the pot was way too big and it got root rot. I may try again. That's another great point. I brought this little pot. I'm going to take a propagation from my Gollum Jade and I'm going to put it in this little pot later. So obviously you don't want a pot that's too large. And I guess that comes down to your soil selection as well. There's so many different factors that go into growing plants. You need the right soil, the right pot size. Some like to be a little bit more pot bound. So just do a little bit of research for each type of plant. Like obviously philodendrons they require different care than a jade plant. So yeah. So this is the plant. Just kind of all over the place. So this is the plant that I cut up, and you can see, look at all that new growth. This is in 1 month, and I want to show, where's that little spot? In the video, I said whenever you make a prune in between nodes, like if I made a cut like right here, the top portion, like this part, will fall off. So you can see it's starting to shrivel up. And then, which one? This one. Get it in frame. You got two little branches forming. And the top portion, like this one right here, you can see it's starting to shrivel up. And where's that one? This one right here. It's just on, looks like a little scab. It's going to fall off, so watch. Just boop, fall right off, and then you got two little branches. So it's activating nodes kind of all over the place. So it's going to be branching out in a number of areas, and this will look to be, or it'll look like a nice full jade plant again. It looks hideous right now, but in time, once those new branches start to sprout, then we'll have another, or a nice beautiful jade again. So it looked horrible with all that pest damage, so just cut it off and kind of restart it. So yeah, just goes to show you how resilient and indestructible these plants really are. I've seen jades at garden centers. Ooh, flower. They're beautiful. There's a garden center, or not a garden center, but I don't know what you call it. But anyways, they had a massive jade there, and I think that one flowered as well. Do you know why my jade plant is not growing if I pruned it like 2 months ago? So kind of back a couple minutes ago, I'm already at 16 minutes and I haven't even done anything yet. Most times when you prune a plant, or if your jade isn't growing, it's probably not getting enough light. So to, I guess, ask a question, do you know what kind of light your plant is getting? Is it in natural light? Is it under a grow light? I took your advice on root pruning one of my jades rather than putting in a larger container. Great idea, it works. Natural light. Do you have a light meter to test what kind of light that it is getting? South. That should be fine. Is it is the window obstructed by like trees and stuff like that? Because even though it's a south-facing window, you might have something in the way that's kind of limiting the amount of light that you're getting. Okay, so I'm going to get to the root pruning of this jade plant, and the reason why it took so long, I wanted to do this earlier in the year, but I didn't have enough of the VeryPlants succulent mix. This is what I've basically transferred over most of my cactus and succulents to this gritty mixture. It's basically just a bag of rocks, different types of rocks like this. It's very well draining, and the reason why I want to switch it to something like this is, I'm going to bring this one back. Whenever you have a soil mixture, it can still be like a cactus or succulent mix. Over time, it gets to be very compact. So every time that you water, it makes everything compact. This one, I just take it out of the pot. This one is like rock solid. Once it starts to grow some more branches, then I'm going to do a root prune on this one, similar to the one that I'm going to be doing. But I don't want to disturb the roots right now, just because it's going to send it into shock, and I don't want to disturb it. But this thing is just one solid root ball. I always like to show the roots on jade plants because they are so thin and fibrous that you can see how easily it is for these guys, or these little roots, to rot. So if you have it sitting in soggy soil for an extended period of time, it's not drying out fast enough, you have it in too large of a pot that has too much soil, it's going to stay wet, and it's going to rot these little fibrous roots. So yeah, I'm just going to show it again because I think it's pretty sweet. All these new little growth points. And I don't know, I find jade roots super fascinating. So Yeah, some trees. So I would, Alexander asked about light and why it's not growing. I would get a light meter and test it at different times of the day and just kind of see what kind of light that your plant is getting. And if it's not receiving, bright light for at least 6 hours, then I would just buy a cheap grow light, or you can buy grow bulbs and get a little designer lamp or whatever it is you want. Do you know where I can find a golem jade? Um, where are you? Like, you can find them at big box stores and stuff like that. The golem jade that I got, it is actually from one of my local plant conservatories. I wasn't able to find a jade plant or a golem jade around here for like a long time, and I asked the nice old lady for a little clipping. Or actually, I asked if they sell cuttings, and she said, "Well, which one do you want?" And we walked over, and she just grabbed a pair of scissors and snipped it off, and I've had it ever since. I was gonna grab it just to show you guys. It's gotten quite large, and I've done minimal pruning on that one as well. Hello from Norway. My jade plant died, and now I can't find another one. I really liked it. Do you know what happened? Was it a watering issue or a light issue? I find, yeah, a lot of people. It took me a long time. I'll be honest. It took me a long time to figure out how to properly care for a jade as well. It took me years of trial and error to learn to care for these plants. Yours are goals. Thank you. Appreciate that. I see golem jade cuttings commonly at Lowe's and Home Depot. That's awesome. The golem jade is such a cool cultivar of the jade plant. I think there's a few different varieties. Are systemic insecticides, I can't pronounce that word, but are they okay for succulents, or is it better to treat them as problems happen? I can't remember if it's neem oil that you can't use on succulents. It'll like burn them. I'm pretty sure it's neem oil. I'd be very cautious about what you use on a jade plant. For systemic insecticides, like I can't even remember the name of it now, but I would think that would be okay, just because the way systemic insecticides work is obviously you mix it into soil, and whenever you water your plant, that water as well as the systemic will be brought up through the root system of the plant, through the stems, and then it gets to the leaves. And whenever that sap sucking insect like a spider mite or thrip ingests the juices, I don't know why I find that funny, the juice of the leaf, they will take in that insecticide as well, and over time it should eliminate your issue with sap sucking pests. But I can't see there being any issue with a systemic, but you have to be cautious about any sort of sprays. I think it's neem oil that says you can't use it on jade leaves because it'll burn. I accidentally gave it Miracle Grow, and I thought it was the water jug, but it was my Miracle Grow jug. Ooh. So you think it burned the roots? I fertilize my jades frequently, or like maybe every 3 weeks kind of thing. So, and like, unless it was a super concentrated fertilizer, it shouldn't really have affected it. Do they need direct sunlight? I'm struggling with my jade. Jades need like 6 hours or more of bright light. So if you have a bright window that gets a lot of light, throw it in that window, and hopefully it kind of perks it up and starts to grow a little bit more. Now, I don't think it's really like in most of my videos, I'll always say like to slowly acclimate it to higher light. But when you're indoors, I can't see it. Like if you just take it from like a darker or like less light to highlight or direct light, I can't see it burning the leaves, but you should always slowly acclimate it. But when it's indoors, you shouldn't really have an issue, but I would just maybe, slowly acclimate it. But I don't want to say just take it from, its current spot and throw it in direct light. You might get some leaf burn. And in one of my videos, I did place a grow light. Oh, I burnt that leaf. Shoot. I did place a grow light, the Sansi one, really close to a leaf, and that's burn. That's leaf burn. So that's kind of what it'll look like if you have it in direct light and it scorches it. So what is Gollum Jade? I've been on a hunt for a trailing jade. Is the neem oil the reason for some jade leaves turn black? I think so. I don't use neem oil or anything like that, so I can't say like with certainty that that's the one that causes black leaves or for them to turn black. If you use like water and stuff on the leaves and it doesn't dry fast enough, then you can get fungal issues and stuff like that. But okay, I'm going to grab the Gollum Jade here real quick, and then I'm going to start scraping away at this this jade plant here, just so I can at least get one project done. That's the main thing that I wanted to get done today, was this jade. And the reason why I'm going to get distracted here again, but the reason why I'm doing a root prune is because I want to keep it in the same size pot. You don't have to continuously upsize a jade plant. That's why these are so good with bonsai type people. I don't know, is because they can maintain a fairly large structure with a very small root system. So, okay, I'm going to show the Gollum Jade, and then I'll get to it. Where is it? Okay, without knocking my plant over. I'm coming back. Okay, so this one is getting large as well. So the Gollum Jade has these kind of round leaves. This one's heavy. I've done minimal pruning with this one, but which branch is it? You can see right here, this one, it's just pulling the entire plant forward. So like this branch right here, and it's just, yeah, it's pulling this whole branch down. So you don't have to prune a jade plant, but I do it to promote branching and to control weight. You'd be surprised at how much weight is on these branches. So how old is this one? I honestly don't even know. I think it's like, it was from a cutting, probably, you know, like a few inches. I would say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So this is a beauty. And yeah, it has these like little round leaves. So I've learned that in jades there are some of I can't pronounce that Porta Afra thing. That is the elephant ear. A lot of people get that variety confused with jades. It's not actually a jade, but it's like, it has very small leaves and it resembles a jade plant. And a lot of bonsai enthusiasts will use those because it can develop quite a beautiful trunk system as well as stems or branches. So yeah, beautiful plants, but they're some of my favorite to work with. Yeah, they're super easy. Like if you're into molding, like using wires and stuff for bonsai, yeah, these are super pliable, so you can definitely train them. But yeah, this is my Gollum Jade. I'll be chopping off a branch after I do the root prune on my regular jade, and then I can talk about propagation and that sort of thing. Unless you guys want to see the propagation here first, I can talk about that and then do the root prune. So let me know in the description here if you want to see, or if you want to have me talk about propagation first or do the massive root prune. Want to see both. You'll see both. Which one do you want to see first? Okay, I got 2 for propagation. Okay. And again, just keep firing off the questions about anything you want jade related. So I feel like I've talked about the care. So Make sure you have it in bright light. For watering with these golem jades, you can't like fold a leaf like you would with a regular jade leaf. So if you can fold it or bend it, and the soil is absolutely bone dry, then it needs to be watered. If it's wrinkled, and the soil is bone dry, then you've gone too far. For golem jades, I just like to kind of squeeze or squish the leaf. If it feels a little bit pliable or not even mushy, I don't even know what the right word is. If it's not plump and firm and it looks wrinkled, then it needs to be watered. Again, as long as the soil is bone dry. And this one is in the VeryPlants succulent mix. How do you know when to up pot jades? Again, it's kind of a tricky thing, but they can actually maintain like a fairly small pot size. I would only ever suggest a pot size slightly larger, or I guess slightly larger than the root ball itself. Now, kind of back to getting lost in jade plants. Now, back to this one. This one is root bound. Now, I don't want it to go into a larger pot. This is probably like a 6-inch pot. It's in a hanging basket. I don't want to upsize this one. So I'm going to probably in the springtime do a root prune like I'll be doing with my other jade plant. Now, you can definitely pot it into something larger if you want. But what I would do is if you can take it out of the pot, oh my goodness, what a mess. Just holding this one. If you can remove it from the pot without soil going everywhere, then just take a look at the roots. But I would say you probably are safe to have it in a pot for a couple of years before it needs new soil or a larger pot. So you don't have to do it every year. Like this one back here, it's probably been in the same soil now for like 5 or 6 years. Actually, I think I did a video on this, so maybe closer to like 3 or 4 years. But yeah, it can remain in the same size pot for a while. Now, that actually brings me to another point here, and I'm just going to see if I can find an area that I can get on camera. A lot of these like lower leaves right here, they're starting to yellow, and they're actually getting a little bit wrinkled as well. I'll see if I can get it in camera. So it's natural for your jade plant to drop some of its leaves lower in the stem as the stem continues to grow. But if you're seeing like a massive dropping of leaves and you know you're not like giving it too much water, then it's probably not getting enough water with like a very compact, hard soil. It's probably not penetrating enough in there, or it's extremely root bound and it's not able to get enough water. So hopefully that makes sense. But basically, if it's been in the same pot for a year or two, take it out if you can. Look at the roots. If it's root bound like this, then put it in a larger pot. But it's kind of a difficult question to answer. It's specific to the conditions, like in your house or wherever you keep it. But yeah, and then only go like one pot size larger. Whoa. Okay, so I'll be chopping off a branch on this one here. The propagation for the golem jade is identical to the regular jade plant, and you can do it by stem and leaf propagation. Now, which branch? There is. I just want to make sure I'm cutting off the right one here before I start getting crazy with the pruning shears. I think that's the one. So I'm going to have to rotate this one because you can see there's much more growth on this side than there is this side. And this branch right here, this is the one that is pulling down this entire section. So it's like it's not held up by a stake or anything like that. But this right here is what is going to go. So I'm not doing any other pruning on this one. And I think if I lose that branch, it's not going to look like one bare open spot right here. So I'm going to chop off this bottom branch. Says, how do you know when to up pot jades? And then the next comment is, you'll know. That's awesome. Are worm castings good? That's all I've used in the last few years. For fertilizer, I've never actually used worm castings, but I hear it's beneficial. Okay, so right there, here's the branch that I'll be cutting off. So I'm just going to snip it like that. Okay, so that branch, again, it opened up this area a little bit, but this branch right here was quite heavy. So I'm just going to get this out of the way without hitting my computer or the cords or anything like that. Is the sound better today? I'm using this microphone instead of my little clip-on mic. Last live stream, it didn't go so well. There's this like constant buzzing. So can everyone hear okay today? Sound is perfect. One of my jades broke because of a heavy branch. Had to prune it real hard. Yeah, like it's actually quite surprising how heavy like one single branch is when you have like all these leaves on it. Okay, so the first I'm going to talk about is like stem propagation. These plants, jades are probably the easiest to propagate. You really don't have to do anything. So I know a lot of times people will say, you know, let the end callus over, let this part get kind of like a scab. Like I say that in my videos, but at the same time, I just put it in a pot. No problems at all. I don't even let them callus over. Like it honestly dries pretty quick. As soon as you cut it, like it's already starting to dry. I don't need like you know, a nicely formed scab on the bottom. Just throw it in a pot of either like cactus succulent soil or like a gritty mixture, sand, whatever you have. I've actually left these just on my like table, just like that. And eventually you'll see it start to like sprout roots. So you really don't have to do anything. That's what makes these so easy to propagate, is you don't have to do anything and it will grow roots. So now I know you probably don't want a plant just sitting on your table, but I'm going to show. This one's kind of a little bit crooked, so I'm actually going to cut this back a little bit, just something like that. Now, take a cutting like this or a propagation. You've pruned your plant. Now, what I like to do is have a section with probably about maybe like 5 or 6 nodes that don't have leaves. So all you do is just pinch off the leaves. You can just pull them off. You can see there's a nice clean cut right there. You don't need to snip them off or anything like that. So just pull them off and it leaves a nice clean stem. So I'm going to set these aside because you can propagate these as well. So that's what I'm going to do, is just kind of peel off all of these leaves and set them aside. A houseplant graveyard behind the house. So that's what I'm doing, is just cleaning up this stem here. I'm just going to take all of these leaves off, so that you want a section, you know, probably something like that. So that long. Now I chose a small pot just because there's no roots on this. So when you pot it up in, I'm actually going to pot it kind of off to the side a little bit. So it'll be in the pot kind of on an angle. if you want it to grow upright, because if you pot it like this, it's literally going to fall out of the pot. So I'm going to plant it kind of on an angle, and this one I'm just going to stand upwards. I'll be using the VeryPlants gritty mixture, but you can use a cactus and succulent soil. It's the same thing. So I'm going to add in the mixture. So I'm not letting it callus over. And again, if you want to, if you prefer to do that, that's fine. I don't. And I'm just going to add that in, pack it down. And that's all I'm going to do. So now the next question is, should I water it? I always say don't, especially if it's in soil. It's not going to hurt it if it's in this gritty mixture, but if you water it when it's in soil, there's no roots for uptaking that water. So it's basically just going to sit in a little soggy pot of soil. And that's where you run into stem rot. Now, when I mentioned earlier, you can literally leave these on the tabletop, or, sometimes you'll find a leaf on the floor at a garden center and you'll see little roots. These plants, just because of how thick these leaves are, it'll basically root itself. It'll use moisture and nutrients from these thick, plump leaves, and it will grow roots by itself. And that's how they do it naturally. Like if a leaf falls off, it'll sprout roots just on top of the soil. It'll grow into the soil and it'll grow a whole new plant. So whether it's especially if it's in soil, don't water it. I would say for probably at least maybe like 10 days to 2 weeks. And then what I like to do afterwards is just slightly pull up on the stem. If you can feel resistance, then it's probably established some roots, and it'll be safe to water just lightly, is what I would say. Also, they'll live a long time in shallow pots. It's better. I made the mistake with cacti. Pot too big. Like I mentioned earlier, jade plants, they're good for bonsai enthusiasts because it can have a large plant with a very small root system. It's actually quite surprising, and I'll show that when I do this massive root prune here in a minute. So yeah, this is all I'll do with a stem propagation. Let it sit for like 2 weeks, put it in a bright spot, and just kind of leave it alone. It will grow roots on its own. I might actually water the one or this one with the gritty mixture, just so I can rinse off all that dust from the mix. But yeah, super easy. That's all you have to do. Put it in a bright spot, stick it in some soil, and just kind of let it do its thing. Now, when it does start to grow roots, you're going to notice probably quite a bit of the leaves starting to shrivel up, and sometimes they'll even fall off. Don't panic. That's a normal process of it rooting, kind of thing. So once it draws all the moisture and nutrients from the leaves, it probably will lose a few, but not to panic. Now, I wish I had a little saucer. So with leaves, whether it's the just the regular jade leaf or the golem jade, again, you can let the end callus over if you want, but what I like to do is get a little saucer, like a pot saucer, and fill it up with some soil. And then all you do is just lay them on the soil. So you can, make a little pattern, just lay them around in a circle. And same thing, just lay it right on top. Don't do anything. It will get a new growth point. So you'll see the, where is it? I'll get a big leaf. So this is the portion that was attached to the stem. And it'll probably in a few weeks start to get little roots poking through. And I like to have it just on top of the soil like that. and then the roots will kind of search down into the soil. You can water it if you want, but eventually it will get a new growth point from that end of the leaf, and you'll see a little stem kind of pop up. Might take a few months, but that's pretty much how you propagate by single leaf. And again, you don't have to do anything. Don't water it when you first put it on a little saucer with leaves. Again, there's no roots to uptake that water, so you're just going to have a leaf sitting on wet soil, and you're just leaving it susceptible to rot, basically. Now, I'm going to show this right here. This is, I don't know if this one is. What did I do? Is this a stem? This was, okay, before I start ripping these out, I do place some leaves on the soil. This one, I'm not too sure. It's got 2 leaves. Did I put it as a stem? I don't even know how long this has been in here, but you can see how small these roots are. I must have placed a small little cutting, or maybe these leaves fell off. I honestly don't know, but it's been in here for a long time, and you can see how small the roots are. Now this is right here. This little plant, Jade, is from a single leaf. I don't even know if I have. Yeah, the leaf is no longer there. It's shriveled up and fallen off. But you can see that's just a tiny little jade plant, and that's what you'll see over time. I'm going to see if I can dig this up. How's your kids' plants doing? This is one of them. Mine is upstairs. This is my son's. It's in the beautiful aloe vera pot. So this is one, and then my daughter's, I did a pretty good root prune on as well. So this was one that I've wanted to repot for a while. Okay, it actually still has the leaf attached. Just gonna put this down for a minute. I don't remove the leaves just because it will use all the moisture and nutrients, but you can see this crusty looking thing right here is the original leaf, and it looks like this one branched out in like 3 different areas. So here's the original leaf, and here's the tiny little plant from that one leaf. I think it's awesome. I think it's so cool that a jade plant can basically regrow from one leaf. So I can take these leaves and just literally place them on a table, put them in a pot, place them on top of an existing plant. You can make a separate pot, but this is what eventually you'll get probably in a few months. So I think they're super cool. These are one of the neatest plants for propagation. Like getting an entire new plant from just a single leaf. That's awesome. Do your kids have any interest in plants? Not really. My daughter, she likes to have a couple, but we actually just overwatered one of her succulents. So whoops. I'm trying with my kids. They are more interested in video games. Yep, that's the way it goes. With these ones, like the jade cuttings that I did, I let them snip off one of the branches, and we kind of potted them up outside. This is, like I said, probably about 6 years ago, and yeah, they really don't have any interest. So does that clarify like all the propagation tips? Have them in bright light. Don't really touch them or water them at least for 10 days kind of thing. When it's a stem cutting, just if you're curious to know if they need water. You can pull up on the plant. If you feel resistance, it's probably got some roots, and you can water it. I've had such a hard time keeping jade plants alive. Are there any varieties that are easier than others? Specific for jade plants, no. The most important thing is just light. If you can give them bright light, you're not going to have a problem. It's whenever you have them like too far away from a window, they're not getting enough light throughout the day, and that's when you run into issues of them rotting, just because they need sunlight to photosynthesize. And photosynthesis is like the uptake of nutrients as well as water to produce cells for new growth and that sort of thing. So if it's not getting enough light, that is the problem. Or if you have it in too big of a pot, it'll rot. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to try and, without bumping into everything, doing the root prune. So, and again, if you have any questions or any further questions about pruning or propagation or anything like that, just leave them in the chat here as well. You know what? I'm going to put this little guy in this pot, and I'm going to start a little jade, golem jade. Oh, just going to dump a little bit in here, holding this one in place. I'm going to put this other little cutting in there. Just plunk it in. Not that I need another plant, but maybe I'll give this one away. I've never had a golem and a regular jade in one pot. I think that looks pretty sweet, actually. Okay, I'll be giving this one some water because I want the small one to get some water. But since it's in the gradient mixture, I'm not too worried about the fresh cutting, the golem jade. Will they do well under grow lights, since mine may not have enough natural light? Yep. This jade right here, the mother plant, it's under these Sansi grow lights, and it absolutely loves them. It does extremely well in or under the grow lights. So absolutely, you can definitely put it under a grow light. Oh, I just pulled it out. Okay, so for this jade, it hasn't had fresh soil for probably a few years. I watered it yesterday in preparation for this video, just so all the leaves, whoops, I just knocked off a leaf. So all the leaves are nice and plump. What wattage are best, and does spectrum matter? These Sansi grow lights are full spectrum grow lights. They're like a natural white light, and I really like the way they look. I don't like those pink or red ones or anything like that. I think they look, they don't look good. These grow bulbs, you can buy the bulbs separately on Amazon. They are 10 watts each. And I put the light meter up to them earlier in the video, and I think it was like 1600 foot candles. So quite a powerful light. And I don't know if you can see, but the edges or the margins have some red tinge to them. So that means that they're sun stressed. It's not meaning that they're getting too much light. It just means that they're receiving a lot of light. It's not damaging, but absolutely they can do well under grow lights. So yeah, this plant hasn't been repotted for a couple of years. I watered it yesterday, and the soil's not too bad, but whenever it dries out, it's like rock solid. Just before doing this video, I took it out of the pot, and whoops, I always get dirt in my water. I'm just reading the chat. Where the W at? What does that mean? So yeah, I watered this one yesterday, and it's not as root bound as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like this one. I thought it was going to be packed full of roots like this one, but it's not too bad. Lots of perlite in there, and yeah. So I'm just going to start picking away at this in a minute. What causes white spots about the size of a grain of salt on the leaves? That is, looks like pores on my nose. That's just minerals from your water, and the leaf itself just excretes that. So like a salt content kind of thing. So it's not harmful. You can, oh, I just pulled off a root. Hopefully this doesn't have root rot. It looks like some of these little fibrous roots might be rotten. I'll talk about that here in a second. So yeah, the little white stuff on the leaves, like little spots, that's just mineral content. So you can add like a little filter to your tap water. Sometimes that'll help, but it's not harmful. You can just clean the leaves off. So this is super, super dry. So I just watered this yesterday, and just scraping away on the side, this is all dry right here. Just the outside is wet. And these roots, they all look kind of like jade roots are really fibrous, but these look like they've had like a little bit of rot on them for sure. So you can get root rot from two situations: overwatering, the soil staying wet for too long, pots that are too large. Basically, it's just not drying out fast enough, that kind of thing. And you can actually get rot from having your plants stay dry for too long. And compact soil can also do that as well. It's the water isn't able to penetrate into the soil. Oh, what did I do? So the roots get super, super dry. And then when you give it water, or when you give it a really good soaking, then that can cause rot as well. So I'm going to take this, lay it down in the container, and I'm just going to start scraping away at all the soil. And then I'm going to look at the roots here and make sure that the larger ones are still intact. It's an amazing plant. That size can have a delicate root structure. Yeah, that's why these are so prone to root rot, is because they'll have like some, I don't even want to say thicker roots. They'll have some larger roots, but they don't have a big root system like you would get with like philodendrons or any other plant. So they'll have, okay, yeah, this is not this root here. So this is about the largest root you'll see on a jade plant, and it's broken. So I'm not worried about this plant dying, because once I put it in some better soil, like this gritty mixture, it'll probably just explode in root growth. When you have compact soil, there's not much oxygen getting to the roots as well. So having it in a gritty mixture will also improve the airflow to the roots. And that can be said for any plant, like any sort of philodendron, anthurium, any tropical plant. You'll need good airflow to the roots. What's that tool? So it is, I believe this is a little root rake. I think it's like a bonsai tool. It's just a root rake. I got it off Amazon for like 15 bucks, 10, 15 bucks. This thing is super solid. It's not going to bend or break. Overall, like this soil that I had it in, it's not terrible, but you can just see, like, look at the roots everywhere. Um, it's not a terrible soil. There's lots of perlite in here, and I think this is the cactus succulent mixture, but I'm pretty confident that I let this get too dry and it just rotted. So, like, look at that root ball already. All of these are just thin little fibers. Do you always recommend terracotta? I do, just because I know that terracotta is very absorbent and it helps evaporate excess moisture quickly compared to, ooh, it just broke, like one of these larger roots. So I'm getting losing my train of thought here. What was the question? I got to go back. Do I always recommend terracotta? Yes. It provides airflow and it dries out the plant quick. So I guess one of the misconceptions with jade plants is that they don't like a lot of water. So whenever it needs water, people just give like a little bit, and that's not enough. When I water mine, I will completely soak it. But I want to make sure that it dries out really quick. So within a few days, you shouldn't be seeing like soil that is still super soggy. You want good airflow, and that can be done from the pot. Terracotta is very porous. You want to make sure that you have it in the right soil mixture. Look at all those roots. I just can't get over how much roots have fallen off without like me actually just scraping them all. And you want to make sure that it gets a lot of light. This one, now that he mentions it, I've not seen roots that circle the pot like a houseplant will. Never thought about it. This one did. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw this one earlier. This is one massive root ball. Will I reuse this soil? No, this will go right into either the compost or I might just dump it outside actually. So these larger roots at the bottom here, this is about the largest that you'll get, and they'll be kind of like a little cluster close to the bottom of the plant. Now, these are the ones that I don't want to rot, those larger ones. The thin fibrous ones, those ones will regrow over time, and I'm not worried about it. So with some of these larger ones that are just like falling off, that pretty much tells me this thing like this right here, it just dried up. It dried up and it shriveled up. So I definitely let this go too long in the soil. Opinions on diatomaceous earth from any of y'all? I've never used it. The only thing that kind of not frightens me about it is I know there's different ways to apply it. Like you can put it on topsoil, but I think I've heard of people like using it in a spray bottle and stuff. Just like, I'm just reading the comment here. I don't like to inhale those little particles because the way diatomaceous earth works is they are very like sharp little pieces. I don't even know what they are, but they're basically used to jam up the joints of bugs. So they basically can't move anymore. And then obviously they will just die off, but I don't want to ingest those or inhale it, I should say. So I could see it being useful outside, I guess, if you have a pest issue, but I don't like to use it in the house. Some people I've heard of using it in a spray as well, mixing it up in water and then spraying it on the leaves, but I've never done it. I've never had any experience with it, but I might take, I don't want to say like an intermission, but I can't take my camera over to my bathroom just because I have a large tub in there and I want to spray off as much of the soil as I can. What happened? I lost my chat. Oh, there we go. I'm just going to spray this plant off as best as I can. And I might actually, I was going to see the rest of these roots look pretty good. So these ones look really good. I just want to spray some of the soil off, and I might actually do just a little bit of prune just on the edges of these larger ones that have kind of snapped off. So just so I don't introduce rot. Oh, definitely got dry. These things are just shriveled. Definitely let it get too dry. I'm just going to try and pick away at more of the soil here. Again, get yourself a number 2 pencil for plant chores. I should start my own line of pencils. JD 1976 says, always reuse my soil, but mix it in with fresh ingredients. I have no problems using this like outside, but when there's like so many roots in this, I don't want to put it in something for my indoor plants just because those are just going to continue to rot. I brought the pencil back. If I was doing like a plant that was in like a nice gritty aeroid mixture and there was no root rot, then definitely I would reuse my soil. Okay, I'm going to take like 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute. I'm going to spray this off quickly, and then I will put it in the pot with the new mixture. So I'm just going to lay it down. I try not to break branches and stuff, but and then I'm just going to, I use a little rock at the bottom just to kind of plug up the drain hole. Otherwise, whenever you water a plant, you're just going to have all the soil running out the bottom. That's another kind of funny thing is whenever you have a plant that looks like this, and like this is solid roots, and you always ask yourself, well, where did the soil go? It's from when you water it, it just all flows out the bottom, and eventually the plant will just consume the pot with roots. So there's like no soil in this, very minimal, like it's all roots. It's like, well, where did the soil go? Out the bottom. Okay, I'm going to quickly spray this off. So don't leave the chat or don't leave the live. I'll be right back. I'm going to try and be as quick as I can. I'm just going to spray it off quickly with a blast of water, and then I will come right back. Okay, so everybody stuck around. This is what the root ball looks like, which is pretty crazy. The doorbell just rang, and Pickles and Oscar are losing their minds. So now, oh, I got dirt everywhere. I think I got dirt on my face now. Now the question is, should I put this plant back in a pot this size? You can see how much space there is. If I was using, I think I have dirt all over my face now. If I was using a soil, like a cactus or succulent soil, then I might actually downsize. Ooh, I don't know about this root. It's exposed. I'm going to cut it off. I may actually consider downsizing this. Let's try this pot. So will it fit? Nope. So maybe like one pot size larger than this. You want a pot that's slightly larger than the root ball itself. I can't get that in there, so it's not an appropriate pot. This one's not terrible. If maybe I potted it lower, which I don't want to, but yeah. Like yesterday, I cleaned out my table shelf here. Like I had like a bunch of different size pots. I probably should have kept them just to show you guys, but I cleaned out this little cabinet and I took it all to the shed just to, it's like a little store out in my shed. I got tons of pots, but yeah, you could, if it was soil, I probably wouldn't go this large of a pot. But you know what? It's okay. That's the tough thing. I'm going to be keeping this one because I'm using the gritty mixture, but this one might be too, I'm just trying to think. This one might be too big for a root system like this, just because I had to cut so much off. So, okay, I'm just going to start filling in the soil. But again, let me know if you guys have any questions. Can you use the pot from the root bound one? I just tried it. So this one's just a little too small. It doesn't quite fit. It does, but it really leaves like no room for expansion. So maybe one pot size larger than this. So I don't even know what this is. Where's my measuring tape? Don't even know. Looks perfect. This one, it's a little too snug. This one, I'm just trying to determine whether if this would be a good pot if it was in soil. You know what? It's actually not bad. Like there's not like a ton of room around it. It's just at the bottom. This is a fairly deep pot. So I probably wouldn't add soil like right to the top. As long as you maybe come like 2/3 the way up, then you should be safe. You just don't want to go like too large is basically what I'm getting at. So yeah, I'm going to put the rock back at the bottom just because all the new gritty mixture is just going to flow right out bottom every time I water it. And where's my little cup? Just going to dump this in. I should be wearing a mask because it's super dusty. It's going to hold my breath for a minute. And then I got a fresh bag here. So this is what I've been waiting on. Don't breathe that stuff in. Dust is not good. I definitely would not have had enough just with that one bag, just because, like I said, I've been doing some. Yeah, this one is completely soilless. It's a succulent mixture, and it's just a combination of different types of kind of like gritty rock. So there's no soil in this. It's super fast draining, and this is exactly what I wanted for my jade plants. So I'm just sizing it up. Definitely going to lose some leaves as I lay it down. So there's already like a 2-inch, 3-inch base, which is it's fine when it's a gritty mixture like this. So I definitely won't have to repot this for probably a few years for sure. And the nice thing about this gritty mixture or this succulent mix is it doesn't get compact like it would if it was in soil. And that's what happened to this plant here. Is it got super compact and it definitely got too dry. Okay, so something like that. Another nice thing about these jade plants as like bonsai plants is they have a nice root flare. So you can sometimes keep these, I think they're called tap roots. So you can keep them exposed and it makes for a nice bonsai kind of centerpiece. I do have a discount code for this soilless mixture, and they ship to Canada and US. I fertilize with this mixture as well. I don't even know if I don't think there's fertilizer in here, but I would just continue to fertilize like you normally would, and I fertilize only when it's actively growing. I know you can't see me here. So this one back here under the grow lights, it gets consistent light throughout the year, I guess. So it doesn't really have seasons. I will still fertilize this one kind of year round as it's actively growing. Where's my pencil? I got a backup one here. So whenever I pot up a jade plant, I always like to find its center of balance. So sometimes the stem might not be like completely straight. I might have to angle it, and it's balanced right now. It just kind of counterbalances the weight from like one side might be heavier than the other. So when you pot it in its new pot, I don't want it falling out of the pot. So I just like to find its center of balance, and then I start filling in around. I'm in Ontario. That work? What will work? And then I'm just going to use the pencil and just kind of poke the mixture, filling in any air gaps for shipping the soil. Oh yeah, I think they are out of Quebec, but yeah, they'll ship Canada wide as well as the States. So I don't know if I have it in the description of this video, but all of my other YouTube videos, they in the description, there'll be discount codes for some grow lights, some soil, and all that kind of stuff. But this is stuff that I use for, what is this? A piece of wood. I use this gritty mixture for all my cactus and succulents, and then I use VeryPlants aeroid mix for all my aeroids, so all my tropical plants. Definitely, they will ship to Ontario. I'm in Saskatchewan here, and I never have a problem with getting any shipments. Okay, so that is pretty well balanced. It's center in the pot. So I really shouldn't have to do any further adjusting. It's already wanting to lean this way. Just going to pack that down. Once you give it some water, and I'm probably not going to water for probably about a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, just because I gave this water yesterday. I don't want to give it more water. But once you water the plant when it's in this gritty mixture, that'll help settle the soil here as well and just make it more stable, I guess. How do you know how many lights you need for several plants that are grouped together? Basically, just start with one and have your grouping of plants, however many that you have, and then just get a light meter like on your phone or whatever, and just kind of use the phone sensor just to tell you how much light like all your plants are receiving. And if you're noticing some plants off to the side aren't getting enough light, then you can always add more lights to your collection. A little bit of dirt in my water. So that is pretty much the only thing that I wanted to get done today was this jade repotting. I've been wanting to put in some new soil for quite some time. So I'm glad I got that project done. Let me know if there's any other questions in regards to care, propagation, repotting, anything like that. Just trying to think of if there's anything that I missed. Yeah, I probably won't water this. Sally just asked if they'll wait to water that. Yeah, I'll probably wait, I don't know, maybe a week or so, and then I'll give it kind of a good soak. I just gave it some water yesterday, so I don't think I wouldn't be worried about like it dying if I gave it water right now, just because it's in this gritty mixture, but I'm just going to wait. I gave it water. It's had a good drink, so I'll probably wait a few days. How are you going to sort out that root-bound jade without breaking all the roots? Which one? This one? This little guy? I'm definitely going to be breaking all the roots on that one. The big thing for jade plants is not breaking those larger, I think they're called tap roots. So all the fibrous ones, I'm not worried about that. It'll regrow those in no time. It's the larger taproot ones that I want to keep intact. And like I said, generally they're fairly close to the base of the plant. I don't think I've ever seen them any larger than like say like a softball for like a plant like this. So yeah, I haven't seen them, extend out to the sides or the bottom of pots. Usually they're fairly compact. It's almost like a little galaxy or nucleus to the plant. It's the fibrous roots that will basically encase the pot, but you can see maybe like a couple small of the larger roots there, but yeah, usually they're fairly close. There's a queen. Can you show us queen of all jades? Which one's that? Your queen of all jades. What do you mean by that? I have two more of my jades upstairs behind you. Oh, this one. It's in a huge pot. Let's see if I can, which leaf is in the way? Let's see if I can. I'll have to do a video on this. It's huge. Sorry, I can't get it. Yeah, bring that down. I can't get it into view. It probably weighs like 50 pounds. This thing is just a beast, but this is one that I've used to experiment on. It's my trial plant for the last like 15 years. How old is that, Jade? It's over, I think I've been saying like 15 or 16 years for probably the last like 3 or 4 years. So it's probably pushing 20 years old. And it's been pruned many, many times over the years. Yeah, if you're just learning how to care for a jade and pruning and that sort of thing, you don't have to, cut off all the roots or cut off all the branches like I do. What I like to recommend to any new person or any new pruning, I guess, is to prune just a small area. So take one branch like this. Take one area where if you cut it, it's not going to make, any gaps present or anything like that. So it's going to have minimal effect. So take an area like this, snip off a branch, and just see how it responds. A lot of people are, including myself, I was absolutely terrified to prune a plant when I first started doing it. But if you prune one branch in a small area, you'll see how it responds. It'll start to produce two branches in time, and then that kind of gives you the confidence to start pruning more, I guess, down the road, just so you can see how it responds. So, pardon me, you don't have to do a big, massive prune. Just do a small area, something that nobody will notice, and then just see how it responds. Do I favor the golem or round? Honestly, I like the round. It just like these plants, they're fairly sentimental to me. My grandfather, he had a jade plant, so that's kind of what started my whole interest in jade plants. And then now that I have plants for my kids, like this is my son's, I have one upstairs for myself and then one for my daughter. They're always kind of meaningful or sentimental. So definitely I like the round ones. The golem jade, that's just a cool variety. But I wouldn't be upset if I like killed it for whatever reason. Compared to these ones, if something happened to these ones, I would be pretty upset. And in speaking with most people, like when I get questions about jade plants, it's always about how to care for their plant from a family member or friend or something like that. So I find these plants have like a lot of meaning behind them, whereas just a regular house plant, if it dies, whatever. But everyone I talk to, jade plants has some sort of special meaning behind them. Really, I recently noticed two small brown patch spots on two leaves. No light change, watering, no signs of pest. Maybe fungal. Could be fungal, but if they're brown patches, where's my? Does it look like this? That leaf? That is a sunburn. If it looks anything like that, then maybe you just had some really intense sun one day and it burnt. But if it looks like that, then it's probably just leaf burn. The stem trunk of the tree turned black and shriveled up, and all the leaves fell off and shriveled up. That sounds like root rot. Some heavy root rot. Oh, I'm way oh, what happened to my? I was reading a chat from earlier, so I must have hit it. How big is it? How big was it when you got it? This one back here. I honestly don't even remember how big it was, but when I finally figured out how to row it, I let it get out of hand, and it actually started to cascade down. Like the branches were flowing like below the pot, like the top of the pot, and I did a hard prune on it, and all the branches basically sprung back up. So that's kind of how I learned about pruning. Was I just cut all those branches off, and I saw how it responded. It looked super healthy, and it's been in this kind of upright form ever since. I don't think I've pruned it for a while, at least a year. So I don't remember like the actual original pot that I bought it in. I can't remember, but well, that's all the projects that I have done for today, or that I needed to get done for today. But I just wanted to show the update with that hard prune that I did a month ago. Obviously, it's doing well. I wanted to get this into some fresh soil for a long time, so I'm glad I got that done. One more project to check off. But if there's no more questions, then I think I'm going to end this live stream. But let me know if you have any other comments about propagation, care for jades, anything like that. And if you ever have any questions like after the stream or anything like that, I'm always available on Instagram. You can send me pictures, and I'll have a look at your plant. Sometimes it can be quite difficult to like diagnose a problem just because I don't know like your care conditions, all that kind of stuff. But most times I can kind of problem solve just by looking at your plant. And like I said earlier, most times when you have a struggling jade, it's either a light issue, improper soil, and like a watering issue, which again, those could be all tied together. You know, if you have it in too large of a pot, then the soil is going to stay wet for too long and that kind of stuff. But you can always send me a picture on like my Instagram messenger and that sort of thing. So if there's no other questions, doesn't look like there's anything else trickling in. I'm going to go enjoy some turkey and cabbage rolls. Kind of, well, we had it yesterday, but I'm going to reheat it and have some supper. But before this this live stream, I stuffed my face with a little bowl of Doritos. So it is time for supper. But yeah, let me know if there's any other questions. I don't see anything on the chat here, so I think I'm going to clean up my mess here, and we'll do another live chat or a live stream here again sometime soon. So no more questions. I think that's going to be it for this live stream. So thanks for tuning in to another live stream, and it looks like this one went fairly smooth. Doesn't sound like there was any complaints about the audio. I'm using this microphone. I feel like a real podcast right now, just with this microphone. The last one that I did had this like noisy interference, which was I didn't know it was going on until some people mentioned it in the chat here, and then afterwards, yeah, I noticed it when I was reviewing it. So it's always something with these live chats with audio. So yeah, I don't think there's any other. Oh, this one is not keeping up. I'm going to go back. See, there was some comments. This one, I have a little tablet here. It wasn't keeping up. Are jade plants your favorite plant? I don't know what that was, but did a little weird thing with my voice. Jade plants, they are my favorite in the sense that they mean a lot to me, or these plants mean a lot to me. But I do have a lot of like other favorites, like all my philodendrons and anthuriums. But if I was to grab one type of plant, if I had to at a moment's notice, it would definitely be my jade plants for sure. I'd love to see a live chat about winter prep. Okay, I will keep that in mind. I might actually make a like a YouTube video for this, just like for winter prep. You mean like indoors, like what you should adjust in regards to care, or like what do you mean by winter prep? I'm assuming that's what you mean. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'll come up with a couple of video ideas. And again, if you have any suggestions down the road, fire them off to Instagram, or you can comment on my videos. I try and read like all of my comments on my YouTube videos. I like to make sure that I'm answering all the questions appropriately. Sometimes I miss things in videos. I kind of do like a little prep before I do YouTube videos. I just have, I have like a little notebook, which I try and make like highlights or main points that I want to cover in a video, but I'm not really good at like scripting videos. So I'll try and come up with a winter prep. I have cold winters. Yeah, I'm in Saskatchewan and we get like brutal winters. So I'm with you on the cold. I don't have drafty windows, but definitely I'll try and come up with something for that topic. Is there any other topics or anything that you guys want to see? Otherwise, I'm going to end the live stream. I'm glad I looked at the, I have like my computer monitor over here, and then I just have this little tablet just because I can't see the live chat on the computer over here. But yeah, I'm just watching it here. But this one, for whatever reason, it froze, and I didn't see the last little bit. But can't afford drafty windows in Saskatchewan. Yeah, you'll be freezing for sure. I'm not looking forward to winter. It's actually been super, super nice here so far. Yesterday, I took out the kayak like last evening, and it was a little chilly. Like once the sun kind of went behind some clouds, like around 5:30 in the evening there, it got pretty chilly. I think it was like 8 degrees when I went, but today it was like I think 15 degrees, which was pretty nice. But the wind, yeah, Laura, the wind. It's always windy here. So, but in trading off for the wind, we get tons of sun, and I have some nice south-facing windows for my house. So, okay, now I'm just rambling. Okay, thanks for watching the live stream. Looks like some people are trailing away here, anyways. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian viewers, and I think American Thanksgiving is coming up here soon as well. So thanks for tuning in today, and I will definitely be having some more live streams, podcasts down the road. Okay, thanks. Take care, everyone.